We have a lot of great stuff for you in this fall fun collection. There are home decor ideas. There are ideas if you're gonna go get some family pictures here, these beautiful fall leaves. Get ready for those Christmas cards, activities for kids, activities for teenagers, activities to enjoy as a whole family. And we're also talking about some Halloween stuff, which is what I want to talk about a little bit today. I want to talk about trick-or-treating because I know that a lot of parents, myself included, tend to put a lot of weight on trick-or-treat night. And it feels like, okay, this comes around once a year, and sometimes I can feel like a lot of pressure around it, you know. What's the costume? Are they gonna still want to be that character when the time comes around? Where are we going trick-or-treating? What is that experience gonna look like? And I want to provide a little bit of a reminder that this will come around again, you know, and that trick-or-treating doesn't have to be an end-all be-all, especially when your kid is younger. So a couple things that I have kind of learned. I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and throughout the last couple years, you know, we've kind of learned how to make trick-or-treating more enjoyable for everybody involved. Because what's the point of it if nobody's having fun? You included, the parents included. So one of the things that we definitely need to pay attention to is, of course, the weather. Here in Pennsylvania, the weather can be very weird. Like today, it is bright, sunny, like upwards of 70 degrees. So if we were trick-or-treating tonight, you know, my kids would be hot if they were wearing a really warm costume, which a lot of the costumes are pretty warm. But we've also had the other experience where like it's freezing cold and we need to add extra layers underneath, or we need to make sure that there's gloves and hats and extra stuff to wear underneath or to just put over top of the costume. So keep that in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is how you're going to get around. So the one year, my boys were race car drivers and they took their Power Wheels around the neighborhood. I have to tell you, like, they had so much fun. Everybody thought it was really cool. I would, you know, make sure you take flashlights along with you. You can even kind of tape them on to the front of the Power Wheels as like headlights, and make sure that you're jogging right alongside of them or setting it on a lower speed, because you don't want them driving all around the road at night once it gets dark. But they had so much fun trick-or-treating that way because they could drive their car up to the next driveway, park at the driveway, or park on the sidewalk, or along the road, go up to the house, grab their candy, throw their candy back in their Power Wheels, and head off to the next house. So it was a fun way to do it. They didn't get as tired. It was a little bit more entertaining for them. We were able to cover a little bit more ground. But the other option is like taking a wagon, taking something where you can throw all the stuff. So our wagon has gone with us everywhere imaginable, trick-or-treating included, so that we could have the hats and the gloves and maybe some extra candy or whatever, the costume pieces as they inevitably come off throughout the night, flashlights, stuff like that, get thrown in the wagon. That way, you know, my husband and I are just like carrying around ridiculous amounts of stuff all evening long. We can take water with us, or, you know, maybe some coffee or something like that. You can also, you don't have to go trick-or-treating outside. So I know in our area there are a lot of trunk or treat options that are outside, but it's kind of made for littler kids that, like, in a parking lot, a bunch of cars will set up, they'll decorate, they'll be handing out candy. The kids get the trick-or-treating experience without having to be out in a neighborhood for super long amounts of time. The other thing that our local mall does, which I would encourage you to check, is that they do trick-or-treat at the mall, which is really fun for little kids, that they can walk around on their own. It's an inside space, it's temperature controlled, it's bright, it's lit up, it's just a nice, easy environment. So we did that for a couple years when Mateo especially was younger, and that was a really good experience. The other thing I'll say is, like, if they want to go out and trick-or-treat and knock on 5 doors and then they're done, fine. Then they're done. Like a part of me is like, well, don't you want to just do one more? And if the answer is no, then why are we forcing it? So if we last for 5 houses, great. If we last for 10, great. That just letting them kind of call the shots, because this is for them. The other thing is, I believe it was just last year, but we were all ready to go. Mateo hadn't been feeling too well, but he was trying to rally. He had his costume on. Grandma and Grandpa were over. We were going to go do this trick-or-treating thing, and we headed out the door, and he's like, I just really don't feel good. So the poor kid, he stayed at home. He, watched shows on the couch, and little brother went out with 2 buckets and trick-or-treated for the both of them and brought candy home to Big Brother. And while it broke my heart, I have to tell you, like, Mateo didn't even really care that much. Like, it wasn't a big thing. He was like, yeah, I felt like crap. I didn't want to go. I'd rather be here comfy on the couch and have candy delivered to me. So for him, like, it wasn't even as a big deal. It wasn't like, oh, my poor boy, like, missed out. He was kind of like okay with it. So I think that's important to keep in mind too, that it doesn't have to be this big make or break thing. And hopefully we'll all be healthy and be able to go trick-or-treating this year. The other thing along those lines is to maybe just have a bag of assorted candy back home. That way, if your kids are disappointed, in the moment, or feel like they need to get to as many houses as possible, you can kind of have that easy reminder of like, hey, you know what? We did a bunch of houses. That was fun. It's kind of getting cold, or your brother's getting tired, or you're not feeling well, or whatever it might be. Why don't we go home and you can pick out 5 pieces of candy from our candy bag? Or something along those, like, let them trick or treat at home. Let them go door to door at home. There's so many options to be able to enjoy that experience without turning it into a negative experience. But I think, like I said, overall, if you can get together with friends or family to go do it, I think that's fun to just kind of stroll around. It's a fun opportunity to walk around in your own community, your own neighborhood. And it's just kind of a fun night for everyone. It should be a fun night for everyone. So keep that in mind. Take the pressure off for yourself and understand that there's always next year. If this year doesn't go great, there's always next year. And it's really, it is about the kids. So follow their lead, have fun, and I hope you guys have a great trick-or-treat experience. That being said, if you want to check out some of our other articles, like I guess contributor put together 3 cheap ways that you can save money on Halloween costumes. She has some beautiful photos, of taking pictures of your kids in their Halloween costumes, and there's a whole bunch of pumpkin decorating ideas and a whole lot more. So go check all of that out. You can go to adorethem.com/fall-fun and view all of that there, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.